What is happening, sports fans? To me, Matt from the DFS5 pack. I'm still rocking it solo. It is Tuesday, May 10th. We got 12 MLB games to talk over. It doesn't look like there's any weather concerns, which is always nice. A couple NBA playoff games if you're into that. So, yeah, fun night of sports, a full slate of MLB games, which I'm excited to talk to you guys about. Before I hop into the baseball, I'm going to shout out our promoter real quick. So ABC Islands, the link and the promo code will be in the description section. I've mentioned this multiple times. We've had a ton of people hop on there and win money already. So I recommend and encourage everyone else who hasn't done so already to do so. Once again, the link and the promo code will be in the description section. Please check it out. And without further ado, let's talk about this MLB slate. A fun slate. Doesn't look like there's any really chalk pitchers, which always makes things a little bit more fun. Pull up DK. Oh, okay. All right, should be good to go now. So as far as pitching options go, Verlander, top pitcher on the slate. He's one of, if not the top pitcher on like every slate he's on. I mean, he's still an ace amongst aces. Could make the easy case that he's, the front runner for AL Cy Young, at least as of right now. So Minnesota's not a team I love going after, but they're also not a matchup I'm afraid of. So I like Verlander a lot here. He's getting love, but not like an overwhelming amount. It looks like a bunch of guys are getting similar amounts of ownership. With Verlander right at the top there. Kyle Wright is not getting a lot of love. He's been great this year. He wasn't, came down to earth a little bit last time out against the Mets. The Mets have a great lineup. Tricky spot for him against Boston. Boston has not been as good as the Mets so far this year, so not getting any love. I don't think you're crazy to take a shot on Wright. I prefer Verlander. I prefer Verlander, but so do a lot of people. Lucas Giallito. He looks good here. He's having a good year. The Indians are not a team I really like to pick on. Their approach at the plate often limits opposing pitchers' DFS upside. They're actually having a good year offensively. I mean, after that Josh Naylor game last night, I don't know how you can be too excited about going against this Guardians lineup, but Giallito is having a good year. I like him a lot. His strikeout upside, if nothing else, puts him wildly in play here. Even if it's not the greatest spot in the world, which we see throughout this slate. Again, another spot like Joe Ryan, who has been awesome this year. Couple starts where he wasn't so great, but the other three, he's been ace-like. Really tough spot against the Astros, though. I never want to pick on Houston. I don't think tonight will be an exception. They just don't strike out, and their lineup's too good. He's priced, like an ace, so it's hard for me to make the case for him other than in tournaments because he's not going to get a ton of love. I don't think he deserves to get a ton of love, though, so not where I'm going to go. Jesus Luzardo. Yeah, I've always been a fan of Luzardo's stuff. Having a really good year. Has finally put it together. Took the L last time out because he gave up 2 Machado home runs. Other than that, he was really, really good. He still has a problem where he walks guys, so, that can lead to the blow up. If he walks guys, you always are at the risk of, putting a couple guys on and then giving up a blast. Great spot for him against the Diamondbacks, though. I think he's wildly in play here, not getting a ton of love, and he's firmly on my short list. Erin Nola, I'm a big Nola fan. I definitely prefer him at home. He's often been better at home. Throughout his career, he's been better at home than he has been on the road. Doesn't mean he's not in play here. Those trends this year are, you can see it averaging 20 plus at home, 16.6 away. Those splits are even more pronounced throughout his career. So I like Nola at home more. That said, he's too cheap at 8,900. Just a lot of good pitchers on this slate. So none of these guys are must, and that's why the ownership's getting spread around. Cookie Carrasco, I'm a big Carrasco fan. Outside of that start in St. Louis, he has had a really good year. You see it, 19.6 is his down start other than that -9. I think he's wildly in play here. I have no issues with him. Fairly priced at 8,700. Definitely on my short list. Wainwright at home against the Orioles. Big time hitting weather here, so that probably takes me off him, but I like him at home against a weak Baltimore lineup. Don't mind taking a shot there. Corey Kluber, man, back-to-back really, really good starts. I don't know if this is the spot I want to use him, but not getting any love. And if you want like chalky offenses, I think you can definitely take a look at Kluber, along with a lot of these other guys I've mentioned in tournaments. Robbie Ray is getting a good amount of love. I've been on Ray a bunch this year. I'm starting to lose faith. Definitely starting to lose faith here. Just hasn't really put it together so far this year. The strikeout upside hasn't been there. I just like the chalk SP on the slate. Now, again, he's not like crazy owned, but he's going to be, as projected right now, the most popular pitcher on the slate by a little bit. Give me Alex Wood over him. Also not having a great year, but I like the matchup more for Wood. Wood's also getting love. I just prefer Wood over Ray. I'm not sure how great I feel about that. Ultimately, might not go either one there. But if I'm plugging one of them in right now, it's Alex Wood. Luis Severino, not the spot I want to use Severino with all these similar guys in better spots. I get it in tournaments, but not where I want to go. Whitlock, he was awesome last time against the Angels. I never use righties in Atlanta against the Braves, so not where I'm going to go. But again, now you're talking where he's priced, where the upside's real. Cal Quantrill, no thank you. I'm just not a big fan of his stuff. Absolute implosion by the White Sox last night. They are not having a good year. Brad Keller in Texas, he's having a good year. Aside from the start in Seattle, 18 plus in every start. He's got 18 to 19 in 3 of those other 4 starts. Yeah, like I could also see the Texas offense here because I like the pieces in their lineup, and at some point I expect them to go off more or less. I get both sides of this, a classic both sides situation here. Reed Detmers, this guy was one of the Angels' better pitching prospects in the minors, but he really has not put it together. I think Tampa is a team you can look at for sure. They are getting some love, but they're under 10%. I mean, teams like Miami and the Mets are going to be higher owned than them. So I can definitely make the case for the Rays here. Mike Clevenger threw 95 pitches last time out. Better spot here against the Cubs at home. Suzuki's hurt. Yeah, I'm interested. 6,900. He's just too cheap for his upside. Kikuchi was awesome against the Yankees at home last time out. Now in that same matchup in New York. I like the Yankees here. They're one of my favorite stacks on the board. They're not getting a lot of love. That has me highly intrigued. They're expensive, but there are some cheap pitchers I like that we just talked about. Clevenger. I have no interest in Kikuchi here. I like the Yankees bats. Martin Perez, actually having a pretty good year. 19 plus in 3 straight. Like, I feel like this is coming back down to earth in a big way sooner rather than later. But I mean, it wouldn't shock anyone if he pitched well against Kansas City because Kansas City's not good. This whole game is a classic. I could see both sides of it. I could see KC bats. I could see Martin Perez. I could see Texas bats, and I could see Brad Keller. All sides are in play in tournaments. Madison Bumgarner got ejected that last start in Miami, facing a really popular Miami offense. I don't mind Bumgarner here. He's not getting any love. If I were playing like the late slate, I'd probably be more interested in him. But I think you could do worse at 6,400. I'll say that. Kyle Bradish, no thanks. Corbin, no. Senzatella, no. And he's a little bit interesting, pairing both pitchers from this game. I definitely could see using some Padres bats. Miley has historically not been a guy I love stacking against, even though I hardly ever use him. But he's 4K, so you don't need that much from him if he's 4K. I talked about expensive offenses I like. Now, there's definitely opportunity cost using Miley instead of one of those studs up there, but he's a real-life major league pitcher for 4K. That's all it is. All right, let's talk about some bats. So all right. Sorry, I'm pulling up ownership real quick. So again, a lot of the ownership's really spread around today. It does look like Salvador Perez is coming in as the most popular catcher. He's in a good spot against Martin Perez. 4 for his last 8 with a couple doubles. He's starting to pick it up a little bit. He's my favorite catcher on the board for sure. I like the White Sox today. Grandal looks good in that stack. I've mentioned Texas, the other side of that Kansas City game. Also mentioned the Padres. They're affordable outside of Machado. And I don't think they get a ton of love here. Mike Zenino, projected for decent ownership, facing a lefty. Very boomer busty, but again, facing a lefty here. His power upside's real, if nothing else, that's for sure. The Cardinals look good as a stack tonight. Big time hitting weather there, facing a weak pitcher in Kyle Bradish. They're getting love, so I think they're in play throughout their lineup in all formats, especially cash games. We'll have to wait and see on lineups if there's any like really cheapos, but Perez, I think, looks like the top guy. And, I also like Garver, assuming he makes the lineup. And then obviously whoever you're using in a stack works for sure. All right, first base. So it looks like two guys are getting the majority of the love at first base, and that would be Pete Alonso, who's coming off a monster game his last time out. Where is he at? He's 48. A couple bombs, five ribbies. He's got big upside in this matchup. Corbin stinks. I don't know why Washington's still throwing him out there. The Mets look good here. Alonso's one of their best pieces. And then Garrett Cooper, who was chalky last night, homered, facing Bumgarner. He's so cheap, 2,600. I mean, he's got 30 DK points over his last 3 games. So you give me 10 here at 2,600. Take that all day. So those guys are, I think, the guys you want to look at in cash games. And then also Brandon Belt, presuming he makes the lineup. San Fran's in a good spot against Senzatella. Belt's affordable, so we'll see if he makes the lineup. Then in tournaments, I like Abreu. He looks better as of recently. Talked about the Yankees. Rizzo for sure. I doubt he gets much love lefty on lefty. Same with Hosmer, who's having a really good year. Just having a really good year. I was looking at Nate Lowe, presuming he makes the lineup. Not having a great year, but I think Texas is in play as a stack. Oh, yeah. Hunter Dozier was the other guy in that Royal stack. I don't think he gets a ton of love here. But dual eligibility might make his ownership rise for sure. So I don't know. First base wasn't as attractive as it usually is. Ryan Mountcastle seems way too cheap. Look at that game log. I mean, Wainwright's good, but I don't mind picking a piece or two against him. And at 2,400, I don't hate that at all. Yeah, again, we'll have to wait and see on lineups. But Cooper and Alonso in cash games, and then obviously a lot more guys in playing tournaments. Second base, position looks spread out for sure. Marcus Semien, way too cheap. Talked about Texas. He is coming in as the highest owned second baseman, but it's not by a ton. I mean, people probably are scared off by how he started the year. He's too cheap. I love his upside here. Another guy I got to call out is Gene Seguro, just on fire right now. Crushes lefties. Robbie Ray has not been great this year. I think that Philly is, especially on the late slate, even on the main slate. I don't think Philly's a bad play at all. Got going last night. Ray has not been impressive. They're not the first place I'm looking, but if I were making a ton of lineups, I'd definitely have some interest for sure. Going back up to the top, Edman in that Cardinal stack for sure. He looks good here. LeMahieu in the Yankees stack. Luzardo is having a great year, but Ketel Marte is on fire right now, and as a one-off, I got no issues going there. He's just locked in at the plate right now, so I think you could do a lot worse. Merrifield in that Royal stack. See if there's any really cheap guys. I don't think so. Yeah, and then not Trevor Story, Brandon Lau is a guy I'll call out. Won't get a ton of love lefty on lefty. Big power upside, regardless of the matchup. So, yeah, I think he could do worse for sure. All right, moving on. We are on to third base. So, third baseman that's getting the most love is the first guy I looked at. Led off yesterday, Bobby Witt, facing a lefty, stole a bag in his first, after he singled in his first plate appearance, stole a bag. Power speed upside for sure. 3,400. He's just too cheap. He looks like the optimal first third baseman. I don't know why I keep messing that up here. At that price point, bunch of other guys in play though. Machado against a lefty, and then the Cubs bullpen. Jose Ramirez won't get any love. He hits good pitching. He had 14 DK points against Manoah the other day. So there's that. Arenado in the Cardinal stack. All these three guys are having monster years. They're always in play, and tonight is no exception. Talked about LeMahieu already. Josh Donaldson, I like in that Yankee stack. Moncada came out, walked, had a hit, scored a run. I like the White Sox again tonight. I think they're going to be in kind of a vengeful mode after what happened to them last night. JD Davis will probably make the lineup. He's cheap with power upside. Eduardo Escobar, I also forgot. He's like not that expensive either. I think that's why he got lost in the shuffle. Not having a great year so far for the Mets, but I've always been a fan. He's definitely in play for me here. All right, shortstop. All right, looks like the Marlins and Mets guys are getting the most love. So Lindor, big power upside, having a good year so far. He's coming in as the chalk shortstop along with Miguel Rojas. $2,400 filler piece if you need it. Probably at the top of that Miami lineup, regardless of where he is in the lineup, he's in play. The top guys: Tim Anderson in the White Sox stack, Wander Franco. Nice night last night against Syndergaard and company. I doubt he gets much love. Corey Seager in the Rangers stack for sure. Brandon Crawford, talked about the Giants, definitely in play. Never mind me some Nick Ahmed against the lefty, even though Luzardo's been good. He's really cheap for his upside against left-handed pitching. Talk about a guy who's hot, Andres Jimenez. Not a great matchup, but don't mind taking a shot there at that price point with clear upside. Yeah, not the greatest position in the world, but obviously in tournaments you're stacking, and there's definitely good plays as far as stacks go there. All right, last but not least, outfield. Looks like we finally have like a chalk hitter, and that's Marcana. There's no reason he should be 2,700. He's not having a great year so far for the Mets from a DFS perspective, but he's hitting over 300. He's got big power against lefties. I get why he's getting a lot of love. He looks good here for sure. In cash games, I think that's where you want to go. And then the Marlins guys. So Tyler O'Neill, the Cardinals guys, and the Marlins guys. Tyler O'Neill, he's picked it up of late for sure. He's hitting the ball hard, no doubt about it. Then the other guy in the Cardinals outfield is Juan Yepez, who's come out looking amazing. I mean, check the game log. So 2,500, he's wildly in play, hitting fifth for the Cardinals. At least that's what he's been hitting. Wouldn't be surprised if they moved him up a little bit. He's been that good. And then the Marlins guys, Avisel Garcia, people love picking on Madison Bumgarner. I get it. Not a Dolis, Avisel. Couple hits last night, big power against left-handed pitching. He's really cheap. And then Soler, kind of the same situation. They're both affordable, both big power against lefties, both getting the love to boot, but it makes sense. Then a couple other guys, 3 other guys. Not one. So Rainier Rosarania homered last night. Dropped down in the batting order, but he's under 4K. He's certainly in play. Ronald Acuna, he's getting love because he always gets love and he's amazing. Probably the highest power speed upside in the game. And then Starling Marte, because the Mets are getting a lot of love. Under 5K, he works as well. We saw his upside recently when the Mets came back from that large deficit against the Phillies. And then Mike Trout will always get love. I like Aaron Judge and the Yankees stack. Other guys I'm looking at, Julio Rodriguez. Even against Nola, I mean, this guy is just a hitting machine, and he runs, and he's got power upside. So even in a tough matchup at that price point, I'm interested for sure. I like the Yankees. Always so many good outfielders to play. So, that's a stacking just makes it easier in baseball. The Giants guys look good. I like Yastrzemski. Senzatella stinks. And Yastrzemski looks good at the dish right now. He's actually one of my favorite hitters on the slate, 4,100. Yeah, a bunch of good plays tonight. The Rangers guys, the Royals guys, all in play. Padres don't mind pieces of them either. So, and then the White Sox, obviously talked about them already. A bunch of good spots tonight. A bunch of good pitchers and a bunch of good hitting spots. I'll be around this afternoon if you guys have questions and stuff. If you want more info, more content, more videos, more write-ups, go check out the DFS 5-pack. We'd love to have you. Appreciate you guys, and let's crush it tonight. I'll see you on the flip side tomorrow.